historically, Iranians have good memories of technological competence from former Yugoslavia. Part of that legacy has been transferred to Slovenia. There are different sectors of Iranian industry which can cooperate with Slovenian industrial competence. The trade has grown. We have experienced more than 75 million euros, but looking at the potentials, that can double or triple or quadruple even. From the interest that I have seen today, and when the Slovenian delegation came to Iran, there are different areas that can be very promising. The first thing is to visit our site. Iran Chamber of Commerce has an informative site. There are more than 150 trade and industry associations under the umbrella of Iran Chamber. So they can go to that sector, that association. They have sites also in English. They can get information from Iranian embassy here in Ljubljana. And then take the opportunity of business delegations, which we have decided to exchange. Now Iranian delegation is visiting Ljubljana, and it is planned to have a big business delegation going from Slovenia to Iran. So taking part in those delegations is a very good vehicle to find the proper partner. We at the Iran Chamber would be more than happy if any company contacts us. We can introduce several potential partners so they can choose from them. Iranian trade with outside world for the last 15 years until 2011 has been steadily growing, and that has taken place despite all of the rhetoric about sanctions. The US sanctions has been with Iran for more than 30 years. That has not stopped Iranian trade from growing. And when you're talking about more than 200 billions of dollars of trade both sides, it means that there are ways of doing business and making those payments. Of course, this recent round of sanctions on Iranian banking system and central bank has made doing business more difficult and has imposed more transaction costs. But there are always ways of doing business. When there is a will, there is a way, as it goes. Countries like China, India, Turkey, Korea, who are having a good amount of business with Iran, buying oil, they have designated banks to do the payment and transfer of money for part of the revenue. And I think it's very logical. At the time that even the United States of America is issuing hundreds, maybe thousands of OFAC licenses, permitting trade in certain areas, if the commodity is allowed to go, the payment has to be allowed to come. So there should be OFAC licenses also for banking payments. So if they call it smart sanctions, you have to have a smart approach too. There should be legitimate ways of payments for legitimate business. And there is a vast area of legitimate trade which is not subject to sanctions. And that is the part that the Slovenian business community is interested in. They want to have legitimate business. They want to have their own share of this flourishing market in Iranian economy. So there should be a way of doing the payment and transfer. I think Slovenia can have that kind of solution, as so many other countries already have. For the time being, the transactions can be done through third parties, the financial institutions in other countries who are doing the transfers. But at the same time, we have to persuade the financial institutions in Slovenia also to provide financial services to those trades that are not subject to the sanctions. I think this is something that the chamber is following, and the government can help in facilitating the process.